yesterday's 25-point win over the Raiders. Brady has 5 total TDs against Vegas. Ryan Clark is back here with us. Max Kellerman.
Yes.
Is it finally time that you give Tom Brady some credit?
Absolutely. I've given him credit whenever he's deserved it. But let me be very clear about this. He defied the cliff prediction originally by 1 year. I said 18 months would cover the next 2 seasons, and then the following year he won the Super Bowl, but clearly is not the same player. The yards per attempt, everything was down. And the roster hadn't changed all that much for it to be, and then year over year it was down again. And remember, when he went to that 3rd straight Super Bowl and won his 2nd, in that run, there have been a lot of runs. In that instance, it was the lowest scoring Super Bowl of all time. The team was built around a running game and defense. And in fact, the Tom Brady that we'd seen, who made no-name receivers and a bunch of guys look spectacular throughout his career, was no longer there. He was missing guys every way you could miss a guy last year. And in a game they needed to win against Miami to get that first-round bye, they lost, and then they lost in the playoffs. And I know he didn't have weapons, but many times Tom Brady didn't have weapons, and he turned them into weapons, right? Because he was the weapon in the second half of his career, especially, when he became truly like the greatest of all time, right? That hasn't been him recently. Now, we all knew what was going to happen when he went to Tampa this year. He was going to look good, or the best version of himself, because he went to an ideal situation. He went to a situation with receivers everywhere, and then he brought Gronk, and now he's getting AB. A defense that was already excellent and seems to have improved, and a team where with Jameis Winston, who threw 30 interceptions for 112 points to the other team. With Jameis Winston, they won 9 games. If you just take Jameis Winston out and put in a quarterback that throws 15 interceptions, they probably win at least 9 games instead of the 7, right? And if you put in a guy a little better than that, that's a double-digit win team. I agree Brady's looked good, especially recently as the season has worn on. There's no question, better than I anticipated he'd look on some of these throws. His circumstances have a lot to do with it. If you put Jimmy Garoppolo or Teddy Bridgewater, for example, quarterbacks whose talent isn't jumping out at anyone, but they're good, right? They can play. On a team like this, what do you think the record would be? Would it be appreciably different? Would we think much different, or forget about how we think about them? What would the results have been? That's my point. Brady is in a perfect situation, and to his credit, he is making the most of it.
I passed my time to Ryan Clark.
You yield your time.
I'm not from
LSU.
I meant what I said when I said it early in the show. I will not entertain any drivel from Max Kellerman about Tom Brady.
That's fine. I win.
You haven't won. You lost for the last 4 years.
I win.
It's pathetic that he's making this argument. I'm upset at you, Molly, for not holding him to the carpet even harder. I think you've been entirely too kind to Max Kellerman. He has embarrassed himself for 4.5 years talking about Tom Brady and is going to sit up here with a straight face like, oh, you know, I was wrong yesterday, or I was wrong last month. He's been wrong for 4.5 years.
3 straight Super Bowls.
Okay,
it's
Tom Brady, the last 2 seasons was clearly not the same as 2 seasons before that.
Once again, can't take it.
I thought you were done talking about it.
The city of Boston.
I told you weren't.
Please, I'm going to ask the city of Boston a favor. Do it for me. I'm done talking with him about it. The city of Boston, you have the clips. You have the footage. You saw how he is. You see how hypocritical he's being now. Ryan Clark, take it away. I ain't talking about Tom Brady with Max no more. I'm not doing it.
After you just talked about Tom Brady with Max.
I would say this, Max, you got him to talk about it again, no Max. So you did at least win in that case, but you can't win with this Tom Brady argument. Because here's what Tom Brady did to me that's impressive. Here's why he didn't hit the cliff. I think this is part of what you never anticipated about Tom Brady, was that when you watch Tom Brady, it was never actually his talent that wowed us. It was his leadership. It was his understanding. It was his mental capacity for the game. And we just thought that meant what happened on the field. But you don't get to work under Bill Belichick for 2 decades and not pick up on something. What he picked up on was leaving before it's actually over. Letting go of things before they run out of time, whether it's Seymour, Malloy, Wilfork, Law, all of these guys who we look at and we say, you know what, these are lifelong Patriots. These are guys who are going to be in the Ring of Honor. Sometimes he lets them go a little bit before their time is up. And Bill Belichick's always smart about that. But this time, Brady flipped it on him. Brady saw what was coming. Brady understood what he needed, and maybe he wasn't that quarterback that could just take anybody and take him to the Super Bowl anymore. But he was good enough to win 12 games with that crew last year, even though it declined at the end. He said, you know what? But if I get in the right position, I'm on this TB12. I'm taking the right supplements. I'm doing the right things. I get in the right spot. I can make these plays. So he leaves for Tampa Bay. And what he's shown us at Tampa Bay is not only can he still be a great quarterback, he's actually showing us he's a better GM than Bill Belichick is. Because look, he got Gronk to come out of retirement and they signed him. He's getting AB to come back, and he's going to be there in week 9. He got Leonard Fournette once he was released from the Jacksonville Jaguars to come to Tampa Bay. So not only was he smart enough to cut bait when he needed to cut bait from New England, he's also been better at assembling a team of weapons for himself. And what Tom Brady is showing us now is that when they protect him, because even week 1 in the loss against the Saints, there was the bad throw that was intercepted by Janoris Jenkins for a touchdown, but there were deep throws down the field that were negated by pass interferences. And I thought to myself, oh, Tom Brady still has it. And then we see him play against the Chicago Bears, and rightfully so. We were on him about that mistake. There was pressure on him, and he didn't seem great. But that's what quarterbacks do. When Tom Brady gets protection, and when he has a full complement, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette, Scotty Miller, that he's still one of the top quarterbacks in this league. And maybe they are 5-2 with Garoppolo, or maybe they are 5-2 with Teddy Bridgewater. But neither one of their teams are 5-2, and neither one of those guys are playing as high-level football as Tom Brady. Listen, this isn't just a this year thing. That's going to be a next year thing, too. So you're going to have this conversation for a long time.
I agree with that analysis. What Tom Brady is doing, let me first explain the cliff prediction, because I heard this with first Brett Favre and then Peyton Manning. Brett Favre, when he was 40 years old, went 12-4, passed for over 4,000 yards when that meant something, threw 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, which for him especially was really good. And I heard he could play till he's 45. He's the greatest of all time. 41, he was done. Played one more season, but he was done. 38 years old, Peyton Manning, coming off 55 touchdowns the year before, threw 4,700 yards, 39 touchdowns. Also, like Favre, went 12-4, and I was hearing he could play until he's 45. He's the greatest of all time, and he's done the next season. Won the Super Bowl, but he was finished as a quarterback. You know, he and Osweiler in and out of the, you know, depending on, but Peyton Manning was the Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he was done. So that was the cliff. Right around that age, 40 years old, certainly 41, 42, it was over. I just looked at the actuary tables, basically, right? And said that, you know, no one's ever done it. If Tom Brady does it, he will be defying the odds. The fact that he's defied the odds. And everyone who said, no, of course, Tom Brady will do it, were the same people telling me Brett Favre was going to do it and Peyton Manning was going to do it. When you do something exceptional, if you are taking away the odds against it, you're actually taking credit away from the player. The fact that no one had done it until Tom Brady seemed to suggest that he also wouldn't do it. The fact that he's done it adds to his legacy as the greatest of all time, which, by the way, I thought he was the greatest of all time for over 10 years, like 5 years before I made the prediction. But I can't deny the way he's playing. It's not just that he has weapons. He looks really good using them.
Stephen A., you got anything else, or are you good?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
You're not talking to Max anymore about this?
No.
I don't really have anything to say.
Well, Molly, I guess you could take it away because Max has conceded, even though he won't say it.